guys. Welcome. How are you guys today? I'm doing so good. Thanks for asking, guys. Anyways, today we will be talking about the Korean War. Oh, yes. I hear some clapping. I see you, Bailey. Bailey loves the Korean War. You know it. I will be telling you all about the Korean War, okay? You guys, you're gonna ace that next time you hang out with someone and you guys are talking about the Korean War. Now I'm gonna have way more fun facts, and you're gonna say, hey, that's from Chaya and she's so smart and cool, and funny and amazing. We're gonna talk about start date and the end date of the war. We're gonna talk about the countries involved and when the US got involved, because eagle. We're gonna talk about who the leaders of the countries were, you know, see if they're cute, see if they are smart, see what decisions they made in impacting the war. There we go. See what issues caused the war. Why did this start? Who started it? What's going on? You know, all the things. We're going to talk about the major events that occurred in this war, okay? At least 10. Maybe more if I'm feeling a little spunky. Military technology? Boom, boom, pew, pew! Boom, 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 pew, pew, pew! Top Gun and whatnot. I'm going to talk about the life of a soldier during this event, okay? And what they went through. So going to talk about life at home during the war. There's no action. And then, guys, we're going to talk about pop culture. And of course, you guys know, I can't do this all by myself. I have other people coming in to help. Okay? So, if you didn't know about Chaya, I am basically like Barbie, where I have multiple versions of myself. So, me right now, I'm just regular Chaya, the best one. And then, over there, you'll see her, I'll show you her. Whenever we talk about the presidents, and whenever I need to show you a piece of technology, we're gonna have Wheel of Fortune Chaya over there. She's really nice. She doesn't like to talk much, but she's still there, and she likes to show off. And then, over there in that corner, we have, Chronically Online Chaya. But she's gonna talk about pop culture, but don't tell her yet. And of course, we have Historian Chaya. She's going to tell you all, like, the details, the nitty-gritty, and then, yeah. And I'm going to be leading it all, of course. So, stick around for the ride, because it's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I know. So we're starting with the start and end dates of the war because, obviously, why not? So, the war started on June 25th of 1950, and then ended July 27th of 1953. So exactly 3 years and 2 days apart. That's a really long war. You know, it lasts longer than, you know, it lasted longer than Legally Blonde did on Broadway. So, there's that. I guess that's more important. The U.S. actually first got involved July 1st of 1950. What? Do you want to be in my video for history?
No.
We're talking about the Korean War. Guys, this is Liam. He was actually
in the Korean War. So the Korean War, Kim Jong-il. Well, I think Kim Jong-il, I think everyone has a good side. Even someone, okay, I'm gonna say something I'm gonna regret.
Okay, bye Liam. Everyone say bye Liam. Some of the technology in this war included the first use of jet aircraft in combat. Boom. The development of helicopters being used for medical evacuation. Actually a helicopter that like flies over my house every night. So who would have thought, right? And medical advancements in systems and patient care. What is MASH in reference to the Korean War? MASH refers to Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. So wherever they would go, they would have like a whole hospital going with them, which is super cool and super convenient for the soldiers, right, Leo? And then I'm going to just let historical Chaya take all of the major events and what led up to the war. So have fun with that, girl. Have fun with that. Oh, hey there. You just caught me reading Alexander Hamilton, the book. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Korean War, because if you do or not, I actually majored in it at Chaya University. So just going to spit out some facts. I guess she wrote out like a script on my iPad. I'm just going to talk about, you know, some major events that occurred during the Korean War. So yeah. Just like 10-ish, you know, I don't want to bore you guys too much. We have, first of all, the North Korean invasion of South Korea. It was on June 25th, 1950, which is also the same year the war started. Which, this is what started it, if you couldn't tell. North Korea actually attacked South Korea and started the war, if you can get that from North Korean invasion of South Korea. The Battle of Incheon. You know, some people don't pronounce it like that, but, you know, I'm probably just smarter because I've read so many books on it. Ugh. Yeah. So, on September 5th, the UN actually landed in Incheon, which is near Seoul, and the battle broke out. The UN recaptured Seoul from the North Koreans, because the North Koreans captured it whenever they, attacked South Korea, and, this battle shifted the course of the war. The course of the war was shifting, like, the whole time. It was just back and forth the whole time. It was back and forth the whole time. Okay. And then, in the late 1950s, the Chinese actually intervened, and they joined the war to help defend the North Koreans, and they pushed back the UN and changed the course of the war once again. There was UN intervention. The UN decided to join the war and defend South Korea, and the United States was leading this invasion. This actually happened right after the North Koreans invaded South Korea. Yeah. The Chosin Reservoir. This battle was fought in the winter between 1950 and 1951. This battle included the UN Marines fighting against the Chinese, which can be compared to World War II, how the Marines were showing their resilience in the war. Seoul was constantly being fought over and recaptured throughout the whole war. And guess what? It was constantly changing! Truce talking, duh. July 1951, 2 years before the war ended. The truce talks were already beginning, and it took almost 2 full years for them to stop fighting. Or reached a stalemate. A demilitarized zone was created and it divided the Korean peninsula, making it North Korea, South Korea. They're split. They're done. The Armistice Agreement, finally, on July 27th of 1953, an Armistice Agreement was signed, officially ending the fighting. But they're still technically in war. And then there was no peace treaty, so despite them stopping the fighting and the armistice and the demilitarized zone in between the two, basically countries now, they're still technically going to war. So she kind of lied when she said the war ended in 1953, only the fighting did, and it's actually still going on today. So. Of course, I just have a few issues that caused the war, and they were post-World War II division between the two countries, the North Korean invasion, which we already talked about, the United Nations involvement, which we already talked about, and the armistice and the unresolved conflict, which, guess what, we already talked about. Thank you so much, Historical Chaya, for that beautiful speech on the 10 major world events in the Korean War. You're just so smart, and yeah, thanks regular Chaya. That was really nice. You're just really cool and really smart. You kind of remind me of myself, actually. So, about the life of a soldier during this war. I feel like whenever I read the Unknown Valor book, we talked a lot about that, and how it was very difficult in war. But I'm going to go into a little bit more depth. The soldiers, especially during the first year of the war, faced a lot of fighting and fire during this war. The war has said to be the United States' second deadliest conflict in the Cold War, and the 5th deadliest conflict overall. Soldiers were also held as war prisoners to the North Korean and Chinese forces, and these prison camps that they were kept in, they had awful food and water and living conditions, and they were constantly being like physically harmed along with emotionally tortured the whole time by the soldiers. Experienced awful psychological effects, guys. Okay? Mrs. Lux can tell you all. I'm an AP Psych, and I kind of know what I'm talking about here. So, they talk about trauma from like wrestling with a war, and it went on to become PTSD for a lot of them afterwards, even though it wasn't that much like common to say that you have a disorder like that in those times, but it still affected a lot of people, whether or not they said it or not. Basic living conditions for these soldiers, like not in the prison camps, in their own camps, guys, they were not good either. They just could not catch a break. What the heck? Anyways, and in these like war like camps that they would set up for themselves, they were most likely living in tents or out in the wilderness, and the food and water was not common, so they lived off of leftovers or their pre-rationed food that they already had. It was not as good and nutritious as the food that would have been shipped in, and so it was just not a fun time either. No, we're talking about life at home during the war. Unlike the did I write popular World War II? Okay. Unlike World War II, which we've known so much about and we've been taught so much about even like just now, the Korean War was not seen as glamorized or patriotic, unlike World War II, since there were a lot more like young people that weren't afraid to talk about the war whenever they got home, and so they would talk about the horrors that they saw during World War II. And the Korean War was the first war in U.S. history that didn't disrupt the everyday occurrences in daily American life. Yes, but we don't see images of the war, we more see images of like pop culture and stuff. Personally, I knew that this war happened, didn't know it was during this time because we don't ever really talk about it at all. But, like with World War II, Korean American citizens were seen less than, and I'd like to compare how they got treated, kind of how the Japanese Americans got treated in World War II. Even though the Korean Americans didn't get like deported to work camps, they still were seen as less than, and they were dehumanized in society. So yeah. Although average people were not working for the war, as I stated, their paychecks were, yeah. There was a very generous cut from wages and also from like pricing and stuff from the government to go help support the war effort. First, we're gonna talk about Kim Il-sung, okay? I'm gonna read just a quick overview of like everything. Okay. Kim Il-sung was born on April 15th, 1912. That was the same year the Titanic sank, R.I.P. Jack and Rose. He died July 8th, 1994. He has 8 children. He was busy. Okay? Who am I to judge? Sung was a North Korean politician, and he was the founder of North Korea. Okay? Led as its first supreme leader from its establishment in 1948 until his death in 1994. And afterwards, he was succeeded by his son, Kim Jong-il, and was declared an eternal president. He's also 5'9", guys. We're looking at all of their heights as well, just so that we can just know more about who they are. He's a short king. Shout out to all my short kings in the classroom. I stand with you and I support you. Next, we have Syngman Rhee. Whoa. Syngman Rhee was born in March 26th of 1875, and he died July 19th of 1965. He only had 2 children. Boring. Syngman Rhee was also known as Rhee Sigma, or by its art name Unam. He was a Korean politician who served as the first president of South Korea. So on the other side, he served from 1948 to 1960. Rhee was also the first and last president of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea from 1919 to his impeachment from 1925 and from 1947 to 1948. Douglas MacArthur. Whoop whoop! So he was born on January 26, 1880, died on April 5th of 1964. He was only 84 years old. He had one child. He's 6 feet. He's 6 feet tall. He's the same height as Harry Styles. Douglas MacArthur was an American general who served as top commander during World War II and the Korean War, achieving the rank of General of the Army. Next one. Who's ready? Who's excited? Can I get a drum roll? It's Harry Truman. Born May 8th of 1884, he died December 26th of 1972 in Kansas City. I've been there. Here's a picture. He was the 33rd president of the United States. He's a Democrat. Harry S. Truman was the 33rd president of the United States, serving from 1945 and 1953. And he served as the 34th vice president in 1945. He assumed the presidency upon the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR. R.I.P. 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 And Harry Truman was 5'9" again. Short king. Would you like to say a fun fact about any of the presidents at all, or no? Guys, I've had so much fun talking with you about, you know, how life was at home, when the war started, all the little details, but I think we have to let Chronically Online Chaya do something, okay? She hasn't done something the whole video, and I just feel bad for her, you know? She's over there sitting on her iPad. She needs to do something, okay, guys? She doesn't get up. All she talks about is whatever is, like, on TikTok that day, okay? She's so, I don't know. I'm not a hater. Love her, like, she is my own, but she needs to get off of her Squishmallows, and she needs to get away from her iPad for just a little bit. It's getting to a point.
You guys know that you don't have to eat the whole entire thing.
Hey, Chaya? Chaya! Yes, Chaya on your iPad. On your iPad. Hey, hey, do you want to, help us out with this video? Oh, it's about, like, the Korean War. We've been talking about it for, like, 20 minutes. It's fine. I was just wondering if you would talk about, like, the pop culture, since I know that you're very into pop culture. Do I have a script at least? Just talk about, like, you know what's going on. You don't need a script. I do have the research online if you want to look it up. Okay. The post-war boom. Lots of families were getting started, the economy boomed up, and people were buying houses. The color box TVs were getting more common, and they were placed in the average person's home. And music. Popular artists like Elvis, Chuck Berry, and Buddy Holly were rising to fame. Guys, I think it has come to an end. We've had many beautiful special guests, such as Liam, all of my beautiful Chayas around the room. Yeah, so grateful for them. Thank you all for watching this video. Thank you, Mrs. Lux, for letting me make this video. And thank you, Sierra and Will, for not upstaging me on my video at all. It's okay. Sierra, I just loved your video, by the way. Like, I don't know. Her dad always cracks me up. Yeah. Will's was like, okay. Will's was good too. I don't hate. Yeah. Will's, yours was absolutely freaking fire, the way you talked about that war. Can't remember which one it was. Was it Korean War? Better not have been. We're all just saying goodbye. Like and subscribe, please. The channel needs your support. We actually just hit, I don't know how many followers, but I bet it's more than 5. Woo! Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. In about 1 year, I'll make another one. Next time about another war. Which one? Stay tuned. Okay, guys. Goodbye.
Please like and subscribe.